Hey guys, so I have been getting hammered lately with people defending communism, just over and over again. It almost seems like every time I say the word, some idiot pops up and tells me how good it is. I decided to write a letter to dirty, smelly, stupid, uninformed wannabe commies to hopefully talk some sense to these idiots and make sure they understand what kind of murderous, dictatorial ideology they're trying to push or dupe the rest of society into buying into. I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a share so we could let all these morons know exactly what we think of them. So here goes. Dear dirty, smelly, stupid, uninformed, wannabe commies. Throughout history, over 40 countries have attempted to implement communism, and guess how many have been successful? You ready for this? Fucking zero. That's right, a big fat 0 countries have been successful at implementing communism. Aside from the obvious flaws in the political ideology, there's a lot of problems with communism that they don't say out loud. This is so they can goad you into a false sense of comfort before they eventually execute you for speaking poorly of dear leader. What motivation could these people have to not say the bad things out loud to you dirty, smelly, stupid, uninformed, wannabe commies? Why might somebody keep this stuff from you? I wonder. Let's see what my letter says. Well, much like the idea of Santa Claus making and delivering presents to all of the anxious children throughout the world, these revolutionaries leave out the massive amounts of human suffering, totalitarianism, death, slavery, rape, and any other terrible thing you could possibly imagine that is required to pull off such a feat. Firstly, it needs a revolution. Communism is not something countries sit down and peacefully decide they would like to do. That's not how this works. They frame it up as common folk or the proletariat fighting back against the bourgeoisie. However, that's not the case. What it actually is anybody that commies label to be the bourgeoisie. That's who they're fighting against. And that includes everyday people who are working and trying to provide for their families. Who could possibly want to destroy what we have today with capitalism? Wealth for the poorest of people has increased 100-fold. The poorest of people in society have 10 times more than the richest people had when communism was first theorized, before the Communist Manifesto came out, before Karl Marx and all these idiots. Essentially, anyone who disagrees with the commies is the bourgeoisie. Communism immediately requires a massive amount of the population to be enslaved. You do realize that. That's one of the first things that needs to happen to implement communism. You need to enslave a massive number of people who don't agree with your ideology and who don't want a revolution. They just want to live their fucking lives and raise their families and go to their jobs and have their beer on the weekend and relax. It's all these people want to do. So right out of the gates, we have enslavement, death, and human suffering on a massive scale. That's the first thing about communism they're not really explaining to you. But Rob, you might say, once we get past that part, everything's good, right? Wrong. Things are not good. Another little secret that the commies don't tell you about when they're putting this shit in your head is what they call the dictatorship of the proletariat. This is a vanguard party, a transitionary group of people who are not elected. They're appointed by the revolutionaries to ensure a smooth transition into communism. They assume absolute political power, and the expectation is that they rule with as much force as is required to ensure that a counter-revolution does not occur. So in other words, their role is to execute anybody who disagrees with their ideology. That's it. They have full power. They are expected to be totalitarian in nature only while they're transitioning into communism, though, guys. So what type of person do you think this role of executing dissidents might attract? Who could this possibly attract? Right? Yeah, this is going to attract all the good people in society. Yeah. This is not going to attract all the people who have dictatorial tendencies and who are twisted and sickened and want to commit murder on a massive scale. No, it's going to attract all the nice, responsible, educated people, right? Right? Wrong. So there's another massive flaw in the communist ideology. To transition into communism, power is required to be temporarily handed to murderous dictators. Communists require totalitarianism and execution to implement communism. That's a fact. But again, once we get past the murderous dictator phase, things have to get good, right? Right? Yeah, because remember all those times throughout history that murderous revolutionary dictators handed power back to the people? You remember all those times that happened? What was it? No. It's another big fucking zero. That's never happened. Ever. Again, things gotta get good after this, though. They have to. There's no way things don't get good after all this work, all this effort, all this human suffering, all this torture, all this murder. Things have to get good after we've been grinding for all these years to implement communism, right? No, it doesn't. And here's why. Look around you, comrades. Look at all your dirty, smelly commie friends that are around you, that hang around you right now. These fucking idiots will be the ones in charge when communism is successfully implemented. Are any one of these idiots capable of even doing their laundry or taking a shower on a daily basis, let alone running the complexities of a modern society, an economy, mental health, police force, all of these things? Are they capable of even showering and doing their own laundry? Like, most of the time you're going to find the answer is no, unfortunately. So in short, communism is one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard or ever read about. It's an ideology that has only ever been hijacked by murderous dictators to assume power and subjugate entire populations and kill hundreds of millions of people, inflict starvation on massive populations of people. That's the only thing it's ever been used for. But in theory, it's a utopia. It's impossible for it to be a utopia. It's a corruptible system, a highly corruptible system that attracts the worst kind of people in society. This whole utopia idea that they sell you is complete and total bullshit. It's to trick you into going along with the revolution and killing all the dissidents and inflicting terrible atrocities on society like every other communist dictator in the history of the planet. So, in short, all you smelly, stupid, uninformed, wannabe commies, go get a haircut, stop reading Marx, stop getting your brain filled with all this utopian bullshit, go get a trade, and get to work making a life for yourself in this wonderful system we call capitalism. With love, Rob Boulier.